Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we got an incredible guest. He's from the Beyond Average podcast. He's part of the Minifan universe, the one, the only Mick. He's kind of a little baby enemies with one of my enemies, Dave Portnoy. Even though I like Dave, I don't know if you like Dave as much as me, but Dave does not like me, and he doesn't seem to be too fond of you, Mick. So can you tell us real quick, why does Dave Portnoy not like you? Let's just start off with a hot question right now. Let's go hardcore, Mick.
I would say Dave Portnoy even knows my name because I am involved with the Kirk Minihane show. Kirk Minihane works for Barstool Sports. And at one point, I commented during the saga at his bar where someone wrote "fuck the Jews" on the LED sign.
Yeah.
I called him a
which is a funny thing, which he overreacted, said he's going to send them to this and that. And listen, I don't hate the Jews. I love the Jews. It's not and like people want to act like those girls that held that thing up are so anti-Semitic. Those, bar girls are probably wasted. Like, give me a break. But sorry. So when that happened, Dave really overreacted, got some backlash. Yeah. And then how did you fit in there?
He goes on Twitter and maybe does 5 or 6 emergency press conferences. And during one of them, I quote tweeted it and called him a rabbi. I said, Rabbi Portnoy preaching to us. Essentially my point was somebody like Dave Portnoy, who has said a million offensive things in the past, should not be lecturing anybody on what's okay to say. And especially calling that anti-Semitic. I don't think what I said was anti-Semitic or racist. So that's really
a rabbi. I'm saying he thinks like rabbis, like you're saying it like it's the N-word or something. Right. But Dave is sensitive. But okay, but we start off with a hot question. So let's backpedal though. So Kirk Minihane, my favorite broadcaster, and I like Big Cat. I like PFT. Those guys are really funny. But I think Kirk is for me, like when he does, I don't watch all the Barstool stuff, but I watch a lot of the clips of him and Dave, and I like Kirk the best. He's the only guy that kind of talks and gives it to Dave a little bit, and I think that's good content. So how are you connected with Kirk? And you were just telling me before the show, before I hit record, but you were in a competition to be his producer. What happened?
A few years ago, Kirk had lost one of his producers. He moved on to another job, and they brought in a bunch of candidates to be the fill-in producer. To producer search is what we called it, kind of candidates. And he decided which one was going to get hired. Kind of lasted 2 months throughout the summertime. It was fun, and that was kind of my introduction to the show. I had been on there once before then, and as just like a third chair guest, really wasn't trying to work for him at the time. It was just.
So you're just a fan though. You're like a diehard fan. Like, that's how I have chat rats, they can figure out, they come to an event. You kind of figure out when you really like a show, you can kind of figure out how to get on it. It's crazy.
Exactly. And Kirk's got a unique relationship with his audience. He's very, it's different than most content creators. It's a more of a personal relationship. I mean, he'll tell us that he hates us and everything, but he's a great guy, and it's a fun podcast to be a fan of. I would recommend anybody checking it out. But during the producer search, it didn't really go well for me. And after all of that, I kind of just, I wouldn't say I fell out of the world. I had a couple of ups and downs with the show. And then since then, I've been involved with a basketball team with the Kirk Minihane show. And that is kind of how Dave Portnoy, found me. And I've been on Dave's radar because I'm playing.
So are you on the KMS basketball team, or what do you do for the KMS basketball team that just beat the New York team?
Yeah, we beat the New York team, and now Dave's going to coach the following game that we're going to do a rematch in a couple of months now at the end of July. So I don't even know if I'm allowed to play in that game based off me and Dave's relationship right now. I don't know where I stand. I would hope Kirk will stick up for me, which he seems to, and I appreciate that, but I don't know. I hope I'm allowed to play.
Kirk does seem to stick up for you, and we can add this clip and post because I don't have it right now, but Dave said something when he went after him. This is how, in that famous clip, where he says, I just want to make jokes. And then Dave, slightly said, oh, that would save me $500,000. And I don't know if Dave's insinuating like that's part of his contract and the producers, but he kind of insinuated like that's, Kirk's contract. And to get paid $500,000 to do what Kirk does is incredibly gracious. And Kirk earns it. I'm not hating on that. I'm not saying he gets to pay a lot. I'm just saying Kirk doesn't want to screw that up. So he wants to be able to press Dave, but he doesn't want to screw up making that much money on it, get to work and be his own boss and not have it too stressed, and not have to be too big, not have to worry about ratings too much. It makes it a lot easier and a lot less pressure when you're, doing it for like that level, like they're at.
Right.
So he doesn't want to lose that.
I think if people who know Kirk too, they would say like he will go against the boss of the company or against the establishment based off what he believes. And I think he actually believed there. Granted, we have a good relationship.
He's not going to lose his job for you. Mick?
He was willing to, he was willing to scream at his boss. He was willing to call his boss out on a clip that went viral.
On a joke. That was good. You're right about that. I'm just saying, can you not work for him because of your relationship with Dave?
Well, right now, Kirk's got a producer opening, and that has been joked about, that me going back to the show. I don't know how much Dave Portnoy pays attention to the Kirk Minihane show, but I don't think Dave Portnoy would be happy with signing a check to me every 2 weeks. So I cannot imagine that would ever happen.
I know a company, and now it's going to make me look like I'm a real shill. They've been trying to send me on it. I'm sure I can get you on one of these sponsored trips, and would you go kiss the wall and do it?
I'll go with you. I don't want to do it like, I want to go with some people that I would like.
They want to go in a group. They always invite me to go in groups, but I'm sure I can maybe I can hop on mine. Dave, if you went and did that, Dave would have there would be no reason for him not to hire you. I think that would give you carte blanche, or, that would, whatever, that would pass the test if you did that, right? Don't you think he would think that too?
I would think. I mean, listen, if you go back to it, I never really even said anything offensive.
Rabbi is not an offensive. The rabbi, and saying the word Jew is not offensive. That shouldn't be offensive. I mean, come on. He's waving the Israeli flag during that UFC fight. He knows what he's doing.
It's tough too, because I think Dave's heart is in the right place. Like, I don't think Dave's a terrible person, but I think
his heart is in the right place. But he doesn't. This is the problem though. Is he has no self-awareness, and he's going to be like, I make $1 billion, and he tweets about it. He doesn't realize that. And he does realize that probably most of the majority of people out here are struggling to make ends meet, can barely, afford their car payment, are stressed out about their kid. Now they're going to pay for their braces. And Dave doesn't even have kids. He's got more houses and money than anybody will ever have in their life. So, he doesn't have the same problems, and he doesn't have the same awareness. And so his connections are with Bob Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, who is one of the most powerful guys in the world, shares a religion with Dave. So when Dave is I don't know this. I'm not saying Bob Kraft is telling Dave to defend it. I'm just saying when Dave is trying to be a part of the Bob Kraft club, he's not trying to be part of the Mick Kirk Minihane club.
I agree.
You have to have a different narrative.
I think when Dave bought the most expensive house in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I think the whole by the common man for the common man attitude, if you have a brain, went out the window. Like Dave's millionaire.
And he's lucky that Big Cat does it. But then I saw a clip of Big Cat talking about how right now it just makes more sense to fly his kids private when he fly. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like first classes, I want to be like, come on. And nobody gave him any heat because Big Cat is likable. I like Big Cat, but they're all like, oh, that they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully one day I make enough money. I can do that too. It's like, shut the fuck up. The first class is fine. Yeah, your baby's going to cry. That homosexual Barstool guy's like, oh my God, our baby cried. There's no AC. Well, no shit, the baby's crying. Your bitch ass is crying. You're 39 years old or however. No wonder a baby's crying. So
oh boy.
I like Barstool, but you know what I mean.
Let me ask you, what is your relationship with the company? Because I remember the viral thing that happened where in the New York office. Can you just run me through your history with Barstool and where you're at with them now?
I'll give you a long story. So I went to school, graduated from LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the year 2010. And I knew a guy by the name of Ben Mintz, who's just a wild guy, lived in Ole Miss and in Oxford, Mississippi. And he was roommates with my roommate's brother. My roommate's older brother went to Ole Miss. And so we would go and see him. And me and Ben talked, we hung out. We weren't like besties, but he was like a couple years older, maybe, or 1 year, I think 2 years older, but whatever, college, it doesn't matter that, age like that. But we just hung out a few times, was a poker player, was like addicted to poker. I remember we stayed up all night. He was playing like on his laptop. We were all drinking beers and stuff and hanging out. And he was literally on his laptop the whole night with us drinking and playing poker. So he really did play poker in college. Fast forward, he gets hired at Barstool. At the same time that he gets hired at Barstool, I start to create my own content. I start to go viral. Well, I posted this video, and it was like 2 times where I said I lost a bunch of money, and then I gambled on it. And the main one was the Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl. I was like, I lost my wife and kids. I was drunk, and then I started betting all my money, and then I parlayed it into now they're in the Super Bowl, and I got $150,000, and I'm living large. And Barstool shared it, deleted it, and they did that twice on another video at the stupid city council before that.
What was the reason?
Yeah, I called it out, and the first time Ben was like, "Oh, it's because you promoted degenerate gambling." Because in both the videos there was gambling. That's why they posted it. Because I was like, and I forget what the first one was. It was like about the Redskins or something, but both of them was like gambling. And so the second time, I'm like, oh, Dave Portnoy is all about free speech, and he's been accused of some of the most repugnant stuff, and they don't delete his stuff; they got to delete mine, and I'm letting you post it for free. And so then he gets mad at me. He invites me on his podcast. Then one of the guys that works here, the guy that literally is like 500 pounds. I'm not talking about the one guy that with Caleb. I like that guy, but you know what I'm talking about? The guy that they kind of make fun of, where his jaw, he looks like a chestnut guy. You know what I mean? I think it was him. Double vodka Dan. Maybe it was him or I forget which one of the big guys who used to co-host the shows, one of the extremely large, bigger than Ben Mintz. And I'm not hating on that like I'm some skinny mini. I'm just trying to describe what I'm talking about. Sent Dave some damn video of me at this abortion protest. And so Dave uninvites me on his podcast, invites me, then like 12 hours later uninvites me. So then I'm like in this Twitter battle with him. And honestly, I ratioed him a few times. And Dave's very powerful on Twitter. He's got a lot of fans. So this kind of started this rift. Throughout this whole process, I knew Ben Mintz, and Ben didn't want to, really stick his neck out. I didn't want Ben to lose his job. Ben hadn't really helped me.
Makes sense.
At all. Didn't even tell me anything. But I went and I stormed their office. I was so mad. I brought an actor, Esteban, and he was like half naked to their office, and we went past security. Like I was wearing like this like New York Islanders hat. And he kind of had like sweats on. He got like not naked, but got into his homeless outfit in the elevator. So that's how we got past security. And then they beat us up, and it was great content. Millions of views.
Hold on. Where's that? I just want to know where's that. Dude, where's that? You know where's that? Where's that? You guys are all cowards. You guys can't do anything. Where are you at, Dave? I brought my wife's boyfriend. Come and do something about it, Dave. I'm not afraid of you, you little wimp.
Great content because I busted in while they were live on the air.
Right.
Long story short, they hate.
He hated it, right? He wasn't.
No joking. Even now they bring it up. And dude, I'm friends with Tucker Carlson. Not trying to name drop, but I've just connected with a few powerful people. I tried to tell him, hey, look, I apologize. It's not like that. I like Barstool. I don't really dislike Dave, and I've really not said anything. Like, there's no tweet of me being like, Dave Portnoy is this like that bad. Really, it's kind of like Rabbi. It's like maybe I've been not nice, but he's definitely said meaner stuff about me than I've said about him.
And I think from what I remember about that reaction was you were putting people in danger was how Dave was labeling it. Like you were bringing some crazy homeless guy into at least from my perspective. Yeah. I remember that. I remember hearing your name and thinking it was like taboo. And I asked around there a couple of people and they're like, no, he's funny. Like he's in on it. He doesn't take himself too serious. I didn't know too much about you, but yeah, no, it seems like Dave
did not take that as a joke. He didn't take it as a joke at all. And he's the one that did it, got arrested for going, I thought, to the NFL. I thought he would I thought he'd think it was funny, maybe invite me back on his podcast. The opposite. Like now he hates me. I'm blackballed. The people can't even talk about me when I have something interesting. Like when I confronted Brittany Griner like right after the trade for the Merchant of Death before like the first game of the WNBA season. Barstool didn't even cover it. It was literally on the ticker of ESPN. I haven't even had a story probably as viral as that since then. I'm like, Barstool wouldn't even cover it, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even hate Dave. I honestly don't. I know Dave's a little sensitive, but I give him a little grace because he is nearly 50 years old. Not that I'm that young. He doesn't have kids. He's super rich. He's just not the average guy. He's out of touch with that original Barstool person. So I'm empathetic to that. He's a product of his environment, and he's created an environment that is much different than the average person.
Yeah, and I think when he sells himself in just the whole Barstool brand is supposed to be for common people, for the regular guy. Like you can't be the leader of the company who said a million, risky things in the past, edgy things in the past. And then the one thing that actually offends you want to ruin people's lives over. It's one thing to kick somebody out of the bar.
He just said Greta Thunberg should have been rocketed when she was in the ocean. And then like, God forbid you say a similar thing. And it's, you need to lose your job. You need to lose your bank account. I mean, I don't know, Mick. I don't know if you really are. Maybe you are anti-Semitic. Maybe you're, part of the damn, whatever, KKK or something. I don't know. But this is the thing. you and I and Kirk, I think we all three are on the same wavelength where we should be able to tease all religions. You know, you should be able to tease Islam, you should be able to tease Judaism, be able to tease Christians, be able to tease atheists, you should be able to tease everybody. And that not one group is, immune from a little bit of a teasing. I mean, this is not bad. Like, even F the Jews, that went away. Was disrespectful. It was kind of funny, right? It was so stupid. It's funny.
It was just stupid to laugh. Exactly. And it's only funny. The more you react to it and the more outrage that is involved with it, it gets funnier because you're like, this is not a big deal. And Dave, I don't think is understanding that, or I think he may understand it and just is being stubborn on the point. I think we might be at the point where Dave knows he's in the wrong and is just like, you know what? I'm doubling, tripling down. I'm standing by my point. I'm so rich. I don't really care.
Well, he feels he's in the right? He's not going to be in the wrong position because he's standing up for his religion and for who he believes in, even though he's a non-practicing. I don't believe he's very.
That's another thing. Like I've been following Barstool for quite some time. I never really associated Dave Portnoy with being this religious Jewish guy. Like I didn't even really think of much of it. Like
it's all brand new. That's how what all of a sudden now he's like, so I'm telling you, he's going the Bob Crouch way. He didn't tell anybody. He didn't even know. I didn't know he was for forever. Not that it's a bad thing. Like once again, they're gonna clip this and be like,
yeah.
Oh, Dave was hiding his thing. He was on Schindler's List or something. It's like, I'm just saying, it's weird, Dave. All of a sudden now you're at the UFC fight with a Star of David draped around your neck and, a yarmulke, and you're like yelling Hebrew at, a UFC fighter. So it is a little different than your first 20 years in media.
Right. And I think my biggest gripe with him is I was scheduled to go on the unnamed show that he does with Kirk, where he was screaming at Kirk about the jokes and all that. I was scheduled to go on that episode, and Dave pulled me. And my biggest
he did the same thing. Wait, go back. Go. Sorry, I keep on interrupting. Go. You can explain what the hell. What happened?
That's kind of how the battle started with Kirk and that whole 30-minute segment where they started the show. I was supposed to be on that day, and Dave's whole argument was I'm irrelevant and I'm not worth the conversation. Yet he talked about me for a month on his show, mentioning that I was anti-Semitic, this, that, and the other, to the point where the New York Post is labeling me a Nazi. So like, I feel as if I am owed 10 minutes to defend myself. We could have laughed about it. We could have had a good time. He could have called me an idiot. He would have realized I'm not a Nazi. But now I have people in my life calling me, being like, "Hey, are you anti-Semitic? What is going on here?" It's ridiculous. The whole thing has gotten out of control, and it could have been avoided if Dave just gave me the 10 minutes like I was scheduled to be on the show and laughed about the whole thing.
I know. I don't understand when he hides from the interaction. It kind of makes you like, what are you hiding from? And listen, I'm not saying, Mick, you're the biggest, most popular guy in the world, but you're not totally irrelevant to the conversation that he's had. You know what I mean? It's not that irrelevant to the Barstool universe. So like he wants to act like you're so irrelevant, yet he's kind of all about giving shine to, dare I say, kind of people that aren't the most relevant. That's kind of why Barstool's cool, is that he's able to make two Barstool people that you don't really know. You have some good beef. Like they're so good at doing that, but in this instant, that they don't want to do it. Like it's so stupid. They'll talk everybody's sex life. Oh, this girl F this guy and this, that. But because Mick, who's kind of a guest, kind of an orbiter of Minihane, you're in the universe. You're not like totally irrelevant. I'm just saying.
I have a theory on that.
That's a bad excuse.
I think it's because he's a bit of a control freak. If Dave's not in control of the situation, granted, I would enjoy doing content with him in any way and all that, but I'm not going to bend over backwards. I'm not going to bite my lip on it. And that's the difference between a lot of people at that company. I like a lot of them, but a lot of people probably agree with me and you on these points. They'll never say it. They wouldn't risk saying it.
But I don't think you've said anything anti-Semitic. I mean, you haven't done a podcast with Nick Fuentes or anything yet, so I don't think. I mean, I'm just saying. And Nick is, Dave would never have Nick on, but could you imagine if Nick and Dave did a podcast? It would get 100 million views. I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying
it would be a great conversation.
But Dave would never do it. I'm just saying that conversation would be huge, but Dave would never do it. I'm sure Nick would do it in a second, but whatever. I'm not here to book Nick on that. I'm just saying that's the problem with Dave trying to be, free speech. But listen, I think, and I only have you for a few more minutes, I think you're kind of going through the same thing as me. And I don't want to give you advice because I'm not I'm not a role model at all. But if you like Kirk, Kirk is going to, it looks like he did take a stand for you. But at the same time, and I said this earlier, you don't want to put Kirk in a bad position either. Right. And I know you're probably not, but by coaching this game, I feel like you should play in it But like, what are you hearing? What is the latest? What is kind of Kirk saying? I just feel like Kirk shouldn't have to get penalized, even though you didn't do anything wrong. I don't want Kirk to get penalized in order to hurt you, because that is kind of sadly the type of person that Dave is.
Yeah, and I think we're now at the point where, or at least I hope, this is going to be the end of all of this. So I think if cooler heads can prevail, I can play in the game. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm not going to Heil Hitler in the middle of at the free throw line like he probably thinks. But I'm just going to be a part of the team like I've always tried to enjoy it. I think Dave has this idea of me where I'm trying to bring Barstool down or destroy his brand in some way. Like, no, I'm just an idiot. I'm just an idiot having fun, and I'm a huge fan of Kirk. So
you are gonna wear a Kanye West t-shirt though, right? You are gonna wear your Kanye West, Kanye West shoes. You need to wear your Kanye West Adidas. Would Dave like that? You think Dave would take offense to that?
I don't think I make it on the court if I do anything other than wear my normal uniform. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to mess that up. I hope Dave sticks out. I mean, I hope Dave doesn't, mess it up, and I hope Kirk sticks up for you. But I also I'm telling you, Mick, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I hope Kirk doesn't bust your balls. I'm Team Kirk. I think Kirk's one of the only guys. I wish I could actually talk to Kirk a little bit, because once again, I don't hate Dave. I actually respect Dave. I think Dave has built something great. He shouldn't be. He should, and I'm good friends with a guy by the name of Tim Pool, and I'm not trying to name drop, even though I said Tucker and Tim Pool, but Tim gets a lot of criticism, and my buddy Tim handles it so much better than Dave. When you're just big like that, and I'm saying Dave's richer than Tim, but like when you're at that level, Dave, you're going to get hate. It's impossible for it to all be love. And like when you're coming up, you get more love than when you get to his level. So I don't know. I don't know why. I guess my one criticism of Dave, and like the reason I guess he canceled my interview, he's trying to be a social justice warrior. He has like sex tapes, and he's a wild guy. He's an all this wild guy. Like he needs to keep his edge instead of trying to conform and going away from what made him successful in the first place. It was being that edgy person that got fired from ESPN, even though they didn't deserve it, but they're not going to be working for ESPN again. So why is he trying to appease the ESPN metaphorically if they're not ever going to hire him again and they fire him unjustly in the first place?
Right. No, he's lost his fastball is an easy term to say. Like I think somewhere along the lines he's sold out and just gone for the Fox News type interviews and stuff like that. Not trying to appease the common man, just trying to say the right thing or whatever it is. I'm still a fan of Dave, and I think he's been a net positive for the internet. But
for sure,
lost him this.
Sure. Yeah, this one he's being a little oversensitive, and once again, Dave, I don't know if he'll see this, I don't know, but I don't hate Dave. I like Barstool. I'm sure you'd love to. I mean, this probably isn't the best way. I kind of like, unless you could be a quiet genius in your positioning. You're going on Alex Hines' podcast because this is going to get on Twitter and the clip's probably going to could blow up. I don't know that you know this, but I'm saying you're kind of playing 5D chess, and you're going to almost pressure Dave to hire you, because now Dave's going to be like. In a way, I mean, it's either gonna sabotage, or in a way it could help. But this is the thing: you would go to Israel. You would, if any statement that you made was considered anti-Semitic, I think that you would apologize. Not that you really need to apologize, but I'm saying I think that you're not like this bad guy that he's trying to label you as, and that you would do or make whatever amends that he would feel needed to be made. Maybe a trip to Israel. Why not? You would go to Tel Aviv in a month or whatever. You would go.
Absolutely. That place is, from what I know right now, is under fire.
It's dangerous. I know, but you would have to go, right? That's why you go when it's dangerous. And then you tweet when it's dangerous, man. We don't want you to go when it's safe. We don't want you to because it's no fun when it's safe. Dave is like, yeah, you're going now, buddy boy. You're going now. Why the Ayatollah of Iran is you got the Iron Dome, dude. You stay in the dome. You're just gonna stay in your Marriott Ohio, man, and you'll be fine, dude. Just eat lots of ball soup. You'll be fine.
All right, buddy. I'll go.
All right. Well, okay. We did a lot. We said a lot. You're gonna, apologize. Yep. You're gonna be able to play in this basketball game.
I hope.
If they don't let you. And you can't, though, throw Kirk under the bus. Well, how much can you throw Kirk under the bus? You know Kirk better than me.
This one, he stood up for me enough where I can't
ask
he did. More from him. He's been great to me, so I would be an asshole if I asked any more from him.
Who's the one that Rico's so scared of? Rico's so scared of playing who on the court? Who's the one that's a monster on the court?
Gus, our friend Andrew Augustus. Great guy, local Amazon delivery man.
Oh yeah, so that guy's tough as nails. See, there's nobody in the Barstool office as hard as that guy is dodging pit bulls, he's dodging wasps, he's dodging the rain, the elements, drivers. Lord, I mean, Lord have mercy, how dangerous it is outside the bus or the van, but inside the van on the road with the psychos. I mean, damn. So,
and you mentioned Rico. You're not a fan of him, right? Real quick, I know.
Man, Rico's a baby back bitch. I confronted him at the bus stop, and he just, bowed down. I tried to get a pardon, and wouldn't do a damn thing. And I like Ben, but Ben's kind of a wimp. I don't want Ben to lose his job either. And I like I said, I'm not trying to ever get a job with Barstool. I would just like to not be blackballed, or if I do something interesting with some sports figure or something, because even though I'm political, I do all kinds of crazy stuff. I talk all about the Mavericks. I was all in the Mavericks protest. I'm all about sports. I love the Cowboys, and that's why people like Dave, he'll label me, anti-LGBTQ, which is impossible because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. So, there's no way, there's no more gay pride than, being a Cowboys fan. That's literally like the gay pride franchise. So my point is, I'm not what he wants to label me. You're not what he wants to label you. So let's try to just break down those labels, Dave, if you're watching this, and give Mick a chance, give me a chance, let him play in the game. We're not your enemies. We'd like to just, honestly, we want to surrender, wave the white flag. If anything, we don't want to, and I'm not really trying to speak for you, Mick. I'm just saying we're not really trying to be your enemy. We would like to be your friend, not your foe. At least I would. And I'm guessing the same for you.
I'm with you. Peaceful times. I am all for peace. I think nothing but a couple of jokes could have solved all of this. I don't think you need to do all of this though. Yeah. No.
And Dave will realize that he needs to just kind of like, that's the other thing is, I guess, I thought Dave is a fan of old comedy, but like in old comedy, Jewish stereotypes used to be like the main thing in all these movies. It was like, it was so funny to make fun of Jewish stereotypes. It wasn't a sensitive thing. So
I've heard
people need to go back to that.
Jokes about, you know what I mean? I've heard people that he writes checks for make jokes about Jewish people. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, he's
It's not. No, it's not. But he's like, how many people need to die for your jokes? It's like, what? How? You'll get apples and oranges. People don't need to die for jokes. Like, he's trying to, convert death to jokes to death. It's just,
so how many motherfucking Jews have to be killed before you stop?
It's just not. I don't think that that's the real conversion, but in his world, it is. The more jokes equals the more death.
That's right.
All right. Well, Mick, how can people find you and support you before you go?
Beyond Average Mick on Twitter, and I do a podcast called the Beyond Average Podcast. Going to be recording one later tonight, probably be available tomorrow.
Well, guys, everybody check in. We want to know what happens in the saga of Mick versus Dave Portnoy. And we love the guys at Barstool. We love Kirk and PFT, Big Cat. Those guys do great work. And you keep up the good work. Everybody go watch Beyond Average Pod. We'll put a link in the description. Thank you. Thank you, Mick. Stay safe on the basketball court. You're going to get in there. Don't rock the boat too much, but don't be afraid to rock it a little. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it, my man. Thanks for having me on.
Peace.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games.